Well, hello church. So as Dave said, I've been teaching scripture, started last year, so didn't get many lessons in because of COVID, but it's more been ongoing this year. I teach 2 kindy classes. I teach Forbes Public, which there's about 40 kids, and then at Forbes North there's about 18 kids. So I have to say that teaching scripture is probably one of the most exciting and rewarding things I've ever done. Like, I had no idea what to expect going into it. With my teaching degree, I could be teaching, I could be getting paid, and I could be getting paid good money. And we know that there's a teaching crisis at the moment, so I'd definitely get a job if I wanted one. But I really love that at Scripture I get to prepare kids for the world to come. It's just so much more than what I could do if I was a normal paid teacher. So at the start of the year, this year I went through a few rules with my kindy class. One of my rules was, put your hand up to speak. But I soon learnt that that rule was a bit tricky because I had like 30 hands in the air constantly the entire lesson. They were just so excited to share and make comments. And so I was both, encouraged by this, but also a bit overwhelmed about how to deal with this behaviour. So I had to put in a new rule that, when I go like this, hands down, just need to get on with the lesson. What I've noticed with the kindy kids is that often they start school and they've never heard of Jesus at all. They will tell me that heaven is a place that you go, when you die, and you stay dead forever. That is really sad. It's really worrying that that's what they've come to believe. And I really love teaching them that no, heaven is an alive place. It's where we get to see God, Jesus, each other forever. It's just so exciting to be able to share that. I've been just blown away with the positivity about Scripture. The feedback that I've received from, parents, teachers, the community, kids. I just thought, well, if I've been teaching, I've heard people say, I've been teaching Scripture 20 years and I have this really cool story and it was really exciting. But these stories are happening all the time. And I've only just started. It's just, amazing. So I'd just like to share one cool story. So I was at Woolies one day a few months ago, and there was a lady there, and I knew her a little bit from mainly music, and she had a big smile, and she seemed like she wanted to chat, so I went over to her, and she said, I think you teach my son Scripture. And we worked out, yeah, that's right, I do. And she said, at the start of the year, I was unsure of where to send my kid to school because, I thought maybe St. Lawrence's would be a good idea because then he could learn about God. And I think it's really important. I want him to learn about God. And then she said, but in the end, I decided Forbes Public. And she said, I think it was a better decision. She said, he comes home and he's so excited about Scripture and he remembers when quiz works came and he can say, Jesus is the way. That's what they taught at the quiz works presentation when it came through. And what else? Yeah, so he's coming home and he's talking about God and Jesus, and she's like, and I've been learning all this stuff that I didn't know through my son. So I thought that was pretty cool. During my lessons, I have teachers sit in to supervise, And there's one particular teacher who I really enjoy just chatting to before my lessons and getting to know, just showing her that, you know, I'm just a normal person. Yep, but I have something so big to share. Sometimes I can see that teachers join in with the singing and the dancing in class. Others are a bit more shy, but I can see them kind of looking down and they've got a smile on their face. You know, they're listening to the puppet jokes and just enjoying it quietly. Occasionally, one of the kids will pipe up and say, "But God isn't real." But this is often quickly followed with another student saying, "Yes, he is." So yeah, that's all I have to share today. If this sounds like something that you'd be interested in, we would love to have you on board. So yeah, come and chat to me sometime about it. Thank you.
It is a great privilege and pleasure to teach Scripture. Katy is just one of the volunteers. Rex Taylor, Nicole Austin and now Jess Woodley are the other volunteers that we have in primary Scripture. And many of you will know that I'm employed to work as a Scripture teacher 2 days a week here in Forbes. Every Wednesday I teach 4 classes at Forbes Public. It's about 90 students in those classes altogether. In the afternoons we go to Forbes North. The volunteers cover those classes at Forbes North. I'm a reserve there. At Forbes High I get to go up there once a fortnight. I teach years 7, 8 and 9 regularly and sometimes every now and again year 10. Once a fortnight I go into Bajerabong and have a lovely time teaching the whole school, and then afterwards I do the same at Eugowra Public. It's a great privilege to go to tell the good news about Jesus in our schools. In a given fortnight we cover about 400 students in our area and we get to reach so many lives. 2 weeks ago one of our teachers was sick and we had no reserve, so we had to cancel the class, and that day 50 students missed out on Scripture. So we'd love to train up more volunteers to be part of the team, sharing God's news, so that we don't have to cancel classes. I love all my classes. I have a Year 2 class that I've been teaching since kindergarten. I taught them in kindergarten, in Year 1 and Year 2. There's about 30 of them squeezed onto the floor of one classroom. I love teaching at Eugowra where there's about 20 kids ranging from kindergarten to Year 6. At the high school I love it where you get to know the students more closely and you get to answer their questions. But the class for me that's stolen my heart is the special ed class at Forbes Public. In this class I've got about a dozen students. Some of the kids can't even speak. Others are quite articulate. And when I walk through the gate near their classroom I hear them say, "Mr. Hayward's here, it's Scripture time." They love to sing and to dance to Colin Buchanan, "Who's the King of the Jungle" and "My God is so big." One boy who speaks only in single words, he catches the same bus as my kids, and in the morning, and when I put them on the bus, he looks at me and says, "Goober." And he's got a huge grin on his face. Goober's this video character that we show in the lessons, and Goober's on a mission discovering God. So all the kids love him. Last term I was teaching a lesson with a puppet. I call him Fuzzy. Fuzzy was upset and he was anxious about everything that was going to go wrong that afternoon. And the special ed kids, they're all talking to him saying, "Fuzzy, it's okay, stop worrying, it's okay." And then one boy stops and says, "Fuzzy, I'm a Christian and I believe in God. I know I don't go to church, but I know that God is there and he always cares for me, so I don't need to worry." At the high school, one student came up to me and said, "You teach my younger brother in the special ed unit and he's always at home singing in the shower. It's so annoying." Singing Scripture songs. There's one girl at Forbes Public who can't talk. I've never heard her talk, only in moans and groans and grunts. And I've not particularly noticed how she participates much in the lessons. Then a few weeks ago, we're doing the song "Jesus, Strong and Kind" with accompanying sign language. And during the song, she was singing the words quietly and doing the actions. Jesus said that if I fear, I should come to him. No one else can be my shield. I should come to him. For the Lord is good and faithful. He will keep us day and night. We can always run to Jesus. Jesus, strong and kind. This child of God has heard the gospel in song. It's a privilege and a joy. This is what I get to do every week. And I get to do it because generous people like you guys give money. This is my day job. I'd love to do it more. But Jeroboam, New Gowra, I only go to once a fortnight, and they've both said they're happy to have me weekly, but there isn't the money to increase my hours. And the reality is that the regular giving for Scripture doesn't come close to covering my current wage. The buffer of money that was built up over COVID is now being steadily eaten away. Please consider giving, consider regular giving. You would have seen these cards, they're up the back on the table. It's a card that you can pray for me and my family, but on the back are details about how you can give. I've got many other stories that I can share with you. If you would like to become a Scripture teacher, please come and talk to me. We need more. In Matthew chapter 9, Jesus says to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field." We know there's a huge harvest, but not enough workers. And Jesus' solution to that is to pray. We have this great privilege. Pray that it would continue. Pray that God would give us endurance, and pray that God would raise up more workers. And Ryan's going to come up now and pray for our kids and our schools.